Tribe, this is Ryan Pinot coming at you to teach some more games, get you up to speed. I made a commitment to several of you that we were going to kind of introduce a couple of games over the course of the next couple of weeks leading up to the PinoCon, which is the greatest local Livingston County game fest of all time. Happening June 27th through the 30th. I hope to see you for part of it, for some of it, for all of it. We're gonna have a great time. So today I'm gonna introduce a couple of games. Now, games that we play aren't always social, they're not always board games, they're all types of games, and some of them take the place of card games. So today I've got a couple of card games that I just want to introduce you to. The Mind, one of our all-time favorite cooperative games, which is gonna sound really lame when I explain it, but when you play it, you just won't quit. It is awesome. The second game is Arboretum, which is one of the most cutthroat, kind of mean card games about trees that I've ever played, and I know we need more card games about trees. And then the last one is a trick-taking game called Campy Creatures, which is all about being a monster and taking guys and having the most points at the end. So that's how most games are, right? Most points at the end, most points at the end, get the furthest. It's all good. Let's hit the table. Let's teach these games. Okay, so back in the day, when I was in theater, because I was an undergrad on a theater major scholarship thing, I did performance. We played a warm-up game that was a game to help us get in sync. And what that game was is we all got in a big circle and we had to count with our eyes closed from 1 to 100 without anyone repeating anyone else. It was fine, it was good, it was what it was. It was a good thing to kind of find our rhythm. But then this brilliant company called Pandasaurus Games comes out with a way to market this exact game. So what we have is the Mind, and what the Mind is you're going to play with up to 4 people, so it's 2 to 4 people, and the entire game is based on counting. And it sounds kind of lame, but the suspense and the tension and the want to win just kind of takes over as the game progresses. Let's talk about the game. There are 12 levels, so each of those levels is indicated by one of these cards. 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 12. And your goal is to get to level 12 and complete the game. During each level, each player is going to get a card that corresponds with that level. So for level 1, each player gets 1 card. For level 2, each player gets 2 cards. For level 3, each player gets 3 cards, and so on and so forth all the way up to level 12. Now, what are the cards? The cards are numbers from 1 to 100. And what we are going to be doing is in silence, without any hand gestures, without any language, without any verbal effects at all, we all have to play our cards in order from least to most. So we'll all sit around the board looking at each other, and someone with a 20 will play the 20, and then someone with the 34 plays the 34, and then maybe someone's got a 56 and they play the 56, but wait, someone had a 47 and it's too late and the round is over. That's essentially the game. You get one awesome little opportunity, you get amount of lives. So you have 4 lives, you can make 4 mistakes as the game progresses, but that's the game. It is a really simple game, straightforward, takes all of about 15 minutes, but the challenge with it is that it won't take 15 minutes. It'll take forever because people are gonna get so close to the end and they're gonna wanna play it again. It's an awesome game. Every one of our guests that has played this game, with the exception of 2 or 3, have loved this game. It is an easy game where you can pick it up, you can sit at a table, you can just be casual, you can have some fun, challenging yourself to get up to the next level. And those moments, the memories are made when one person's got 89 and another person's got 90, and you're this close to finishing the level, and you play it out of order. The chuckles, the laughs, the tension, the suspense, it makes it what it is. That's the Mind, Pandasaurus Games. That's one of the games that we're going to be playing at the PinoCon. Next up we have the Arboretum. 7 is your most unfavorite, most disgusted, hated number that you will ever come in contact with. I'm about to explain why. In the game Arboretum, you are tasked with building your own little arboretum with all these different trees that are in the game. I think we have somewhere around 10 different species that can come out throughout the game. They're gorgeous cards, they pop, they're really pretty, and who really cares about that? The art's great, but the gameplay is more fun. And what I mean by that is very simply this. On your turn, you are going to have a hand of 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You are going to have a pile of cards in front of you. And on your turn, you are going to do one thing first. And that one thing first is you're going to draw 2 cards. When you draw 2 cards, you're going to pick 2 from here, or 2 from here, or in any combination. So I can pick from the discard pile, and I can pick from random, or otherwise. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to look at the arboretum that you have already built up, and every player at the table has their own little arboretum that they are building. So you're going to look at your arboretum, and what you're going to do is you are going to play a card. And when you play a card, it has to be orthogonal, meaning you cannot place it diagonal to your board. You have to touch it it has to be adjacent to another one of your cards. And it has to be in some kind of numeric order. So for example, what I already have set up is this is an all legitimate board because 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, these are all in order. This works, 7 to 8 to 7 to 8, that's a legitimate thing that you could do. This works, 3, 6, 8. So essentially what I'm saying is in any number order that you've got a line, so this is basically 2 segments, and that's why it's in numerical order. You cannot have any matching numbers with each other. So this is the arboretum that you're building. So you draw 2 cards, then you play a card. It has to be in numerical order, and it has to be on your board, and then you discard a card. That is essentially the actions that you're going to take on your turn. And you do that every single turn until this deck is down to 0 cards. And it actually moves quite faster than you might anticipate. The challenge with this game is you are competing to have the most points with all of these different species of trees. So we've got the maples, we've got the haciendas, we've got the blue spruce, we've got all different cards that are going to be happening as we play the game and as you build your arboretum. So throughout the entire game, you're building this arboretum, and everyone else is building their own arboretum as well. You get to the end of the game, this deck runs out, we all have 7 cards in our hand. At the end of every turn, you're going to be picking 2, playing 1, discarding 1, so you'll always have 7 at the end of the turn. It gets to the end of the game, we all have 7 cards left in our hands, we've all built our beautiful arboretums, and now it is time to do the scoring. And how scoring works is we're going to go right down the list of all of the trees that we have in the game. And the only way you get to score trees is if you can protect them by having the amount of cards. A greater value of cards based on that tree species than anyone else in your hand. So for example, we'll say we're going to count the maples. I've got maples in my arboretum. I've got 1, 3, 5, 6, and 7. I have the arboretums. So what we're going to do is at the very end of the game, everyone at the table will discard the maples that they have in their hand. So for example, let's say Joel or Andy or any good friend of mine plays this card, an 8, and I play a 2 and a 5. I have 7 points. Whoever played the 8 has more points than 7. For that reason, whoever played the 8 gets to score the maples, and I get 0 points, okay? Now, let's say that that individual doesn't have any maples in their arboretum. It doesn't matter. They have effectively held me from being able to build my arboretum effectively. Now let's say I were to play the 8 and they were to play the 2 and the 5. 8 is greater than 7, so I get to score my maples. And how I score my maples is each of these cards, because they're matching, is worth 2 points each. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now we get to the blue spruces. I have a row of blue spruces. Now, just because the maples were matching, the spruces don't match, but they are capped with the same kind of tree. And they are in numerical order. 3, 6, 7, 8. So I have a row of blue spruces. We would then play the blue spruces. I've got 6 in my hand. That gives me 6 points. Someone else, you know, I'm gonna go around. Maybe someone else has more points, someone doesn't, whatever, we score it. Because they are not matching, we count this 1, 2, 3, 4. Maples are matching, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. The maples are worth 10 points, 2 points each card. The pines are only worth 1 point each because they're not matching cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we just keep going through this whole thing. We play the haciendas or the hussar, whatever, the beautiful purple tree that I can't pronounce. I've got a row of those, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I don't have any other tree rows on here. A single card does not count as a row. It can count in your row, so it could be played here, but it cannot count a single card, a single tree of a single tree of a type cannot be its own row. So the game is a ton of fun because throughout the entire process you're picking up cards and you're saying, well, I need to collect this one so that I can stop so-and-so from scoring their trees, but I need to keep this one because I need to be able to have enough to defend my trees, and I need to play this so I can get points. And it's filled with a ton of really tough decision making, and the end game is just wild because you're sitting there thinking you feel really good and you feel like you're protecting your trees and all this kind of stuff, and everyone else might be able to prevent you. It's really effective. It's a ton of fun. It's filled with surprises, a lot of tough decision making, and ultimately really thinking. One rule I didn't mention in this game is that at the end, when we all trade in and discard our cards, all 8s trump 1s. And it's a way that the game is played. The game has built this mechanic in here so that you can't just hoard 8s the entire time. If I played an 8 purple and you played a 1 purple, my 8 goes down to 0, and all of a sudden I can't score my purple trees. It is fascinating. It's got some take that feeling to it. It's really tight. It's got a lot of tension, and it's awesome. So that's Arboretum. Check that one out. We have a lot of fun with it, and it's gorgeous. So get your tree on. Get your tree on. Get your tree on. Get your tree on. Keymaster Games presents Campy Creatures. It's Campy Creatures because it is your B horror movie kind of theme type thing where you got these monsters that are done with really pretty artwork. Capturing mortals, people, trying to eat them. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins the game. This is a simple trick-taking game, meaning that whoever plays the highest card gets to pick which card they want first, and the point value is right here. This one's worth -3, 2, 4, and these are dealt every round. So we play about 6 or 7 rounds. That means 6 or 7 cards are going to be played. Each time you play a card, you're going to be picking one of these mortals if they're available. These will be changed, so some of these will be worth 2 points, 1 point, 3 points, so on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the game. On your turn, everyone's playing at the same time. What you do is you're going to look at all of the different campy creatures you have, and everyone has the exact same deck of cards, okay? And they are scored 1 through 8, so that's their point value. And what you're essentially doing is you are picking a card and playing it face down in front of you in order to play in a way that sets you up to pick the cards that you want, right? So like, for example, I really, really, really want this number 4. I want the 4-pointer, I want it, it's towards the end of the round, I feel like there's not gonna be any big cards played, so I would put my card face down in front of me, all other players will put their cards face down in front of them, and what they do is at the same time we all reveal our cards, and whoever has the most points gets to pick first. That's what a simple trick-taking game is. So the 8 would pick the 4, the 7 would get to pick something, the 4 would get to pick something, and then the 3 would get to pick something. The fun of this game is not just the trick-taking part, but there's one little twist on the rules. And what that twist on the rules is just very simply the text that is on the cards. So we've got this cool text, and each one of these monsters has a different power that gives them an advantage as the game progresses. So for example, going back to this round that we have right here, the mummy says, you get to capture immediately. You get to take one of the mortal cards immediately if the kaiju is in play. So we all played our cards. I'm sitting here thinking, wow, I really want that Cosmonaut. I'm playing my level 4. But someone knew enough that I was going to play that card, and they chose to play the mummy. So because their power is, if kaiju is in play, this person gets first turn. So they would pick the Cosmonaut instead. And then it goes back into turn order. I get to pick again, second, so I would pick this one. The beast would pick this card, the beast power. If you never play with the beast, if you don't play with it, you get 3 bonus points at the end of the game. So that's the power of that one. And then the invader would probably get the hunter. Each of these cards has different powers. The invader, if able, the invader is allowed to pick 2 cards in a row. The blob is a 0-point value, but when you play it, you get to look at everyone else's cards and then choose to play a new card and give it that power number. You've got the invisible man, you can discard a card. All sorts of stuff that just kind of plays off of each other in the campy creature feel. It's a good game. It's a solid game. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. You're playing cards, trying to pick other cards that give you points. That's a trick-taking game, friends. Outthinking your neighbors. So these are the 3 games that I just wanted to choose to introduce to you because they're straightforward, they're simple, they're a lot of fun, and they are the kind of games that you can pick up, play in 15 to 30 minutes, and move on with your life. We got Arboretum, Campy Creatures, and The Mine. Check us out at PennoCon, June 27th through the 30th. It's going to be a ton of fun. We really hope to see you. If you have questions, email me, message me, talk to me, and let's give Jake some love and energy for being a video editing guy. Wow! Campsites are coming soon. Thanks, everyone. Good day.